Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Sevens. This one, the first for these two sides of the qualifier. Pretty much, to summarise it, these two sides, they want to make it onto the circuit next year. Samoa, of course, tasting the circuit this year, but now they have to fight for their spot, and they are up against a hungry Kenya who want to make sure that they are one of the sides who make their way through to the next stage. But looking through at the Samoan starting lineup, it will be Niueli Letufea, Va'a Pilomaliko, Motu Opitai, Tuna Tuitama, Eliza Peta Alafipo, Daniel Patalasio, and Taunu'u Noolivaya. Now, this Kenyan side, we have not been able to cover a Kenyan game for a long time, and they are now back on Yala in the starting lineup. Wakesa, Okoth, these familiar names that we haven't said for a very long time. It is great to see Kenya back in action up against the top side. Did you get some sleep? I did not know. We were pretty much setting up all the other streams for tomorrow. So I've got them all pretty much ready to just start scheduling. Hello again, says Tato. Welcome in. If you are keeping well, Adam Lil will be in charge of this game. Might go to bed after the Blackburn Sevens game, says Novmum. And there as well, Bava'a Pilomaliko. He is back in the Samoan side, and that is a massive, massive injection into the struggling Samoan team. They know how important it is going to be for them in this matchup. They have to get themselves a win over the Kenyans here, but they are kicking off from right to left. Pretty much the way that this works is, even if you win all three of your group stage fixtures, you still have to play a knockout game up against one of the lower ranked sides, and pretty much a winner takes all kind of match. Now, Kenyans in possession. Like I mentioned, this is the first game that we have covered of Kenya in quite some time. We will get to cover one of their matches, or at least a few of their matches, in the upcoming Olympic Games in France as well. But currently in position just outside of their 22 here for the Kenyans. Onyala pushed towards the touchline, and he has gone out. Now Samoa, they will have themselves the line out. Just had to make sure the referee was going to put his flag the right way. Go Kenya. Says great in there. And shout out to Jacob Dipper, the 99 from Germany. What a game, and good luck Usos, says Blues Nate. And who is going to win? Well, Samoa come in as favourites, but the Kenyans, they are always an entertaining side to watch. And this is the type of game for Samoa where they need to try and build confidence as they move throughout this competition. Now, I do not doubt that Kenya will get themselves a win throughout the group stages. This may not be quite the same Kenyan side as we saw when they were back on the circuit, but they were one of the sides that a lot of people definitely missed when it became only 12 sides rather than the 16. Currently, Samoa, they are in possession with Va'a Pilomaliko. Run hard at the line. He is inside of the 22. Was spending a bit of time playing rugby union in France. Now is back with the Samoans. Nice step there from Tuna Tuitama, but he's given the ball away. And this is going to be a massive chance for the Kenyans. Onyala will score the first try of the match. Mistake made by Samoa, and the Kenyans strike first. This is a new Kenyan team. Dongo says great there. A great run through there. And like they've just said, there can be a little bit of a crushing blow for the Samoan side to concede a try this early on in the fixture. Tato said yes. And there as well, Vincent Onyala scoring the first try of this contest for the Kenyans, and they are now up 7-0. This is not what Samoa would have been expecting, although, to be fair, they probably should have been expecting it. We know how strong Kenya can be, and we know the following that Kenya bring to the game of sevens. The stands are rocking at the moment with support for them. They're up 7-0 at the moment in this game up against the Samoans, but it's going to be kicked off long by Kenya down towards the 22, and well taken by Va'a Pilomaliko. Taken down by Ametsa on the 22 at the moment for Samoa. I love it, says Tato. And there as well, great turnover in the breakdown this time for the Kenyans. And they will look to go to the short side, and they have got themselves another try. Odongo Okongo has scored the try there. Kenya up 12-0 up against the Samoan team. This is quite the start to the matchup. Samoa caught off guard, and just great work in the breakdown from Asati. And then the quick hands out wide to Odongo Okongo. And Levi, as much as he wanted to defend it, it was a 2-on-1. He actually almost ended up getting himself possibly penalised there. Yes, man, baby girl. There's... we have got there from Thatona Tojo Odongo, fast boy. That one is missed away to the side, so the score will sit after only 4 minutes. 12 points to 0 in favour of the Samoans. This is certainly not the match that the Samoans were expecting, but I should mention, even if Samoa lose, theoretically, all of their games in the group stage, right, they can still get themselves through onto the Seventh Circuit once more, because it's all about working out the qualification in terms of who is sitting where, and then you go into the playoff games, which are the knockouts. So it's pretty much a winner takes all when you get to the top 8. Samoa, let's go, says I'm there. On the halfway line, Kenya kicking that ball out on the full, which now gives the Samoans an opportunity to fire back into this matchup. Niueli Letufia. We have to put the ball in, or is he? We've got time off again here from the referee. And I mentioned about the adjustment period that Samoa would have with Va'a Pilomaleko. Of course, he's a fantastic player, and he was absolutely tearing it up on the circuit the last time that he was on it. But just like most players, you have that little bit of extra time that you do need to adjust. That is going to be the penalty to Samoa now at scrum time. Samoa have won just 8 games this season. Now, to put that into perspective, right, I believe we've had 7 leagues or maybe 8 leagues, and theoretically Samoa have been playing 4 or 5 games per league. So they've probably won 8 out of about 35, 37 games for the season. Only going at about maybe a 24, 25% rate. That is going to be now turnover for Kenya in the breakdown. Once again, very well done from this Kenyan side. Another offload from a Korth, but the ball has been dropped. And they'll go back for the scrum. We have got there the Kenyan flags from Evans there. And let's go Kenya, says Michael. And there as well. And yeah, they've started this match absolutely superbly. I said it right from the get-go. When they cut it down to 12 teams rather than 16, the one who I felt the worst for was Kenya, because you see the passion that they bring to the game. You bring the excitement as well when you have Kenya in a competition, but they took that away. And now Kenya are looking to fight their way back onto the circuit, show everyone just how entertaining and dangerous they can be. Who scored Odongo, and who the first try was Vincent Onyala, who scored the opening try of the contest. That is going to be now a free kick to the Samoans at scrum time. That is somewhere that Kenya seem to be struggling a little bit here, but now Tuna Tuitama puts the ball on the outside, inside ball, away to Motu Opitai now, and just gets over for the try there for the Samoans. Do you bet on rugby? I do not, because I am terrible at predictions. If you want proof of that, just look at my prediction for New Zealand versus Fiji. I ended up predicting New Zealand to win, and Fiji got the upset, so it's just too unpredictable. Definitely in a game of sevens, you just never know who's going to be able to take it out. The Samoans, great try there for Motu Opitai. Now making the score set 12 points to 7 after this one has gone over. Go Kenya, says Evans. And there as well, but then it's a halftime siren, which means we have got one more play that will be taking place. We have got Chris in the chat, has said Kenya in there as well. And it is absolutely awesome to have all of you guys supporting Kenya in the chat. Like I mentioned, like the passion that the fan base of Kenya bring and the excitement for when their team is in action is almost unmatched on the Seventh Circuit. Little kick in behind from Kenya here, trying to dink it in behind. Pilomaleko, a lot of pressure on him. He's actually kept that ball alive, extremely risky. At this point, Samoa, they have risked it all here for a chance of being able to create one last attack. Now Kenyans have hijacked your live, says great, and I'm absolutely loving it. As they Sevens U13, says Thato. Is they Sevens under 13s. I don't believe... Oh, there probably is somewhere, I would say. Now, nice offload to Tuna Tuitama. Back in his space. He's got round 2 Kenyans. And the risk has paid off. Though nice chase there in the end. Almost ended up getting tackled there, Tuna Tuitama. But he has scored the next try in this contest. 2 tries each for these sides. And Kenya says Annie. And there as well. And also the Samoan flags from Marcelino there. Vamos Samoa. Says a Blues Nate. But a couple missed tackles from Kenya. Led to Tuna Tuitama. It's running straight through. He might have been toying a little bit with John Okoth there. With that last run. And that one, I believe, is unsuccessful. So that is going to make the score 12 points to 12. Now that kick should have gone over for Samoa. It is nice, straight out in front of the posts. Just hooking it away to the side means that this is anyone's game in the second half, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, both of these sides, they are going to be very entertaining to watch throughout this group stage. We are going to be covering their playoff games when they do take place. I'm not sure whether or not we've got either of the next 2 games for these 2 sides, just because of time zones here in New Zealand, plus other streams that we will be doing, but we will be keeping you updated in terms of if there is a Kenyan or a Samoan game taking place while we are streaming a different contest. We will, of course, be letting you know exactly what the score is. And there, Hamish bro, how are you? Says Michelle, I'm doing extremely well. It is currently 3:35 a.m. I decided I would stay up for a few extra hours for the sake of being able to watch this game, and it is certainly not disappointed. Throughout the first half, Samoa and Kenya both scoring themselves the 2 tries. One for Motu Opitai, one for Tuna Tuitama in terms of the Samoan tries. And then for the Kenyans, we did see the try scored by Patrick Odongo Okongo. And then also the other try scored by Vincent Onyala. If Kenya win, will they be history makers? They will not be, no. Because they could win all 3 of their group stage matches. But then if they lose their game, which is the last round, then they do not qualify for the 7th circuit. They will miss out and they will be taking part in the Challenger Series yet again. So don't get me wrong, it would be a big win for them, but the job is not done. They have to make sure that they do extremely well in that playoff game. Now, they could find themselves facing Samoa in one of those playoff contests. They are just showing Antoine Dupont watching on 90 seconds or 90 minutes, away from him being in action up against the French. 3:35 a.m., 6:36 p.m. in Kenya. We are active, says great there. Hammy, have they beaten Samoa before? I believe they have. I think that it was last year or the year prior. Oh, that's going to be the knock on out wide, unfortunately, for the Kenyans. How are you guys watching live? Says exiting football. For myself, I am from New Zealand. I think we've got a few Kenyans in the chat by the looks of it as well. Hamish Rowe ready for the T20 World Cup. New Zealand matches cover here, please, at the Kiwi Lads channel. Unfortunately, Cricket World Cup is very risky because of copyright. Like, even though it's not the ICC copywriting your content, it's normally other cricketing content creators who want to make sure that they're the only ones that people are watching. So it's a big risk with such a compact international rugby window just around the corner. We might consider it though, but it'll probably end up with us getting in a lot of trouble. Yes, Kenya, says Milan, and I'm in Chicago listening. Thanks, bro. Says Rico, no worries at all, but now scrumpy for the Samoans on their own 22 here. A little bit of ground to be made up, pressure being put on as well. The back of the Samoan scrum. I'll tell you what, that was almost a good turnover in the breakdown for Mboya. Now back across to Va'a. Apilo Maliko, tackle well. Ball being protected by Samoa. What side are you watching on, bro? So I am watching on Sky Sport here in New Zealand. But it is only limited to New Zealand that you can watch on Sky Sport. Now run down the wing. Nuulivai keeps the ball alive. Gives it away to Motu Opitai. That ball is out the back door. Brilliantly controlled by, I believe that was Pilo Maliko, looking very light on his feet. But now the counter ruck is coming from the Kenyans. And they've managed to turn the ball over. Onyala puts the pass across. He is the man who scored the first try in this contest. Can he perhaps also score the last? Here comes the big run forward from Odongo Congo, and he breaks through the Samoan defence like it was nothing, and he now gets his Kenyan side the lead in the second half. I saw someone like you in Christchurch. Says, great, how long ago? I haven't been in Christchurch for a little while. If it was like a few months ago, it could have been me. From Kenya, I hope we win. CSK Android Gamer and Titus Quebec from Kenya watching. I hope you guys are all doing well. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If Kenya make it onto the circuit, we will definitely be covering a majority of their games. And also, I should mention, they're in the Olympics. They have qualified ahead of South Africa, which does mean we are covering all those games on the channel as well. Hamish, do you know when the last chance for the Olympic qualification is? I believe I think it's in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, somewhere around there. There's still time, though, before we head into July, but it is in June at some stage, I believe. And Kenya, says Jeffrey, nicely claimed there by the Samoans, although now they've knocked it on when hitting the ground. Does mean that Kenya will have themselves the scrum. Now, it is currently sitting 19 points to 12 in favour of the Kenyans. Typical, I locked the door and one of our cats does dookies in the little tray. So now I have to go outside. Says a Novmum there, and also the Kenyan flags from Jeffrey. Huge amount of support for Kenya in the stands. Why isn't Rugby Pass showing this game? Says Chris. Are they showing the other matches of the championship side of things, Chris? I assume that it's because it's the qualifier rather than the championship. Update your scoreboard. Sadly, I have no control over the scoreboard. It is an online one. But at the moment, it does sit 19 points to 12 in favour of the Kenyans. But hopefully, it will update very soon. But for now, 7 points in favour. Another scrum free kick for the Samoans. That seems to be the one area that Kenya do definitely need to work on if they make their way back onto the circuit. Big run forward from Pilomaliko. It's up to the halfway line, but Kenya's good pressure in the breakdown, causing Samoa a few disruptions out to the left-hand side here. Now Motu Opitai puts it on the outside to Noeli Letufea, who has to clean that one up. And a few handling errors there from the Samoans, but also from Kenya. So it will now be the scrum feed for Samoa again. And Patrick Siki from Chicago listening. And also there you go Kenya, says Quebec. And there as well. And hi Hamish, I'm back, says Marnus. Welcome back, mate. Hope you are keeping well once again. Of course, we've got some massive games of the Sevens tomorrow that we are also going to be covering on the channel. Okay, sounds like a couple more changes are going to be made for these sides. That's the thing, a few familiar faces off the bench. Herman Hamwa, that's a name that we haven't said in so long. Tanga as well. Like, these are the kind of guys that are almost giving me a bit of nostalgia from when we were covering the Kenyan games on the circuit. And Kenya won the Singapore Sevens in 2016. Says a Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Now getting ready to put this ball in. What do you feel about my commentary from the South Africa versus Ireland game? Says Amanus. That is going to be now the penalty going the way of Kenya. It would have possibly been better, Manus, if there was slightly a delay on it, just because or else then, it was slightly ahead. The coverage in New Zealand's a bit slower than obviously whereabouts you are. And the well, we mean business, hashtag Kenya, says Kevin. And the Kenyan flags from Frederick. And there as well. Now 2 minutes remaining in this contest. They're about to throw this ball in here. And that one's not the straightest lineup we've ever seen. Commentary is on point, says Milan. Thank you very much. What's the time remaining? Currently 90 seconds left. And quite good. Go Kenya. And I remember Joe Rokothoko from Fiji. Great player, of course. Used to have speed out on the wing, just like a majority of these men out there on the field at the moment. But I think Rokothoko just had that little bit more pace, didn't he? And hi, bro, what time Fiji playing? Fiji's next game is going to be at about 10 p.m. tomorrow, I believe, is when it is going to be taking place. Now, attack and run from Pilomaliko. Gets the offload away to Steve Unisai. Now, I should mention, the Samoans are still down at this stage by 7 points. And that is going to be a penalty, and this looks like it might even be a yellow card for Izati here for the high shot. Well, it's Kenyan's strength and weakness in their game. I would say their strength is the way that they commit to a breakdown. Their weakness at the moment is definitely their scrum. We're seeing a lot of free kicks going against them in this matchup. So I don't think they can really afford to have too many more scrums. Oh, yeah, Izati's got him a bit high there on Pilomaliko. Yes, Manus, I agree with Hamish. It would be nice if it was a delay. We enjoy hearing it from Hamish. Says Pixie Dust in there, and go Kenya. We are here behind you. This sounds like it's going to be a yellow card here. So there is mitigation, and it's going to be a yellow card here for Izati. He will be off the field for the rest of this regular time period. Come on, Samoa, says IMSA. And there as well. 40 seconds left. Samoa need to score between the sticks and make it an easy 7, and then we would be going to golden point time. There is only another 30 seconds left. Can the Kenyans pull off the big upset? Ball about to be fed in by Niueli Letufia. When did you murder a fish with a rock? Says Manus. Who do you think will win? Says Great. I'll be honest, like Kenya at the moment are looking in the box seat, and I think that the biggest concern for Samoa is they do need a conversion. Like this is going to be possibly a try for these Samoans, but they have to make it a nice, easy one. They've knocked it on, and Kenya beat these Samoans. That is a massive win for this Kenyan side. And they will be more than happy with their performance there. The familiar faces as well as the new names who are getting to taste a possibility of making it onto the Sevens circuit for the first time in their short careers. But just a mistake from Samoa. It went through the hands of Letufia. And Kenya, says Milan, and Kenya, says Chris. And there as well. But the Kenyans are victorious, ladies and gentlemen. 19 points to 12, getting the win over the Samoans. And well done, Kenya. Unlucky Samoa. We over there. That was awesome, says Milan. You didn't answer my question. Well, you're just asking weird questions, Marnus, to be honest with you. We over there. Well, Kenya says East African News, and Kenya says Chris in there, and also Kenya says Febrine. And there as well. But I have to say, certainly, Patrick Odongo Okongo, they are just showing him on the screen at the moment. 2 tries scored in this tournament so far, and he's only played 1 game. So a great start for, like he's just saying, first time in the HSBC. He's used to the Challenger Series, and he's already becoming a little bit of a star on our Malolava commentator. You are now the official Kenyan game commentator, says Great. And there as well. Now, I should mention, sadly, the next game that Kenya are playing up against the Spanish, we actually are unable to cover, just due to that is when we are sleeping. But I am hoping to do the game that is taking place tomorrow, that is taking place between Kenya and Chile. That is a hope that we will be able to do so. But we are definitely covering the playoff games as well. And Odonga is following in the footsteps of Collins and Jera, and Don't Sleep There is another Kenyan game to commentate. Says Great there. And also we have got there, Kenya, thanks for the commentary. Says Quebec there, and thanks a lot. Says PRJM. And there as well, thank you very much for being here. And also Paul Samoa, they're going to have to pull through, says Ruth. But that's the thing. You can lose all 3 of your games right in the group stage. All you have to do, though, is make sure that you win that last one. And that is why for Kenya, this is a brilliant start. Don't get me wrong, but they have to make sure that they get that next one right. Let's play our next test clip. The next game is Spain versus Chile. I do see no sleeping today. We want you to commentate. I have already been up for about 22 hours. So we have to sleep at some stage, unfortunately. And that is just unfortunate that the time zones are not great. Do you remember, Sophie? I do indeed, Marnus. You seem to be very persistent with the interesting questions throughout this live stream. I will give you that. Bit strange. And we have got there who's playing next. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Thank you, Uso, says Mazzalino. And will be awesome broadcasting rights. Play it for free. Kiwi lads, I would show live game. Says Blues Nate there. And good job, says Joel. And who won? New Zealand and Fiji. So in the end, Fiji managed to get themselves to win 28 points to 26. So a very close game between those two sides. And also in that group, we saw a last-minute thriller where the Irish were able to get themselves a win over the South Africans. So a lot of close games that have been taking place. Who was Sophie? It was a guy in the chat who was trolling as a female. Probably about 6 months ago or so. And thanks for the coverage, says Chris. And Kenya all the way, says Joel. And there as well. And yeah, Hamish rocks the rugby commentary, says Ruth. And also we have got there and the chat, well done Kenya. And yes, Team Kenya, says William. But yeah, Kenya starting this one extremely well. Now I should mention their playoff game, because of course they've got a couple more group stage matches. But the playoff games are taking place on Monday, New Zealand time, in the early hours of the morning. You're the Kenyan good luck charm, although you somehow supported Samoa. I wouldn't say I supported Samoa, I just predicted that Samoa would win the game. So it's one of those ones that I'm glad to see that Kenya were able to pull off the upset. I do want to see Samoa and Kenya on the circuit next year. It just means that they have to get themselves big wins in their eliminator finals, which are taking place in exactly 2 days' time. Those are the important games. And they have to make sure they win that, because those are the ones that will determine if they're on the circuit for the next competition. And yes, Team Kenya, says William there. And also we've got the Spain, you're next, says William. And Spain have already scored up against Chile. That is a fantastic start. Of course, Spain are going to be going head-to-head with Kenya later on. And Kenya have great stamina and endurance, says Bystander. And there as well, of course, a Kiwi would support Samoa more than Kenya. You guys are neighbours, says great. Although, if you watch some of those old school live streams that we've done where we were commentating Kenyan games, we've got a soft spot for Kenya. And that is why throughout this matchup, I mentioned about how excited I was to be able to call a Kenyan game again, because it's been so long. And I felt like they were the team out of everyone when it came to missing out and cutting the competition down to only 12 rather than 16. Kenya were the side, when I saw that they didn't make the cut, that I was extremely disappointed not to see. So I do hope that they make their way through to the next stage and get to play on the circuit next year, because we would love to cover 30 plus games throughout a season of the Kenyans. We really want to be back up, go Kenya, says Sir Jim. And yeah, this was a great start. They just had to make sure they get that big win in 2 matches time or 3 matches time, and that is the one that will determine if they go through to the next stage or if they miss out. Like you, Hamish, thoughts are more. We're going to win by 10. When are you streaming again? Hamish says bystander. So tomorrow, I've got the schedule here. It's a bit of a hectic one, but the plan at this stage, tomorrow we have got 5 games of rugby union in full that we are covering, alongside about 5 or so sevens matches. So the plan at the moment is tomorrow we are doing the Fijian draw versus the Rebels. That is the 2 p.m. kickoff for us here in New Zealand. We are then covering Hurricanes versus Highlanders, which is the 4:30 p.m. kickoff. After that, we are covering the 7 p.m. Game between the Chiefs and the Blues, followed by, I believe it's going to be New Zealand versus South Africa in the sevens, and then Ireland versus Fiji in the sevens, followed by Stormers versus Lions in the URC. Then it is Fiji versus South Africa in the sevens. Straight after that, Sharks versus Bulls. And then if we still have a voice, we're going to be doing Samoa, Spain, and Kenya, Chile later in the day. But we have got about 14 hours of streaming lined up tomorrow. So that is also another reason why I am going to be sleeping throughout the later games today, for the sake of being awake so that I can cover those games, as we will be up for probably another 24 hours doing those games. We're on to Smash Players in the top table. I hope we qualify, says great. And we go and be there next year, says Sir Jim. We're streaming the other Kenya games later today. Unfortunately, the game that they have later on up against Spain, no, in fact, it's up against Chile later on today. I don't believe... Is it up against Chile? No, they play Chile tomorrow. Yeah, up against Spain. Sadly, we won't be covering that game. But we are hoping to cover the game tomorrow between Kenya and Chile. And if we aren't able to cover that game, we are definitely going to be covering, no matter what, their game that takes place, where it will determine if they get promoted or not. So that is only in 2 days' time that one is taking place, as they only have 2 games prior to that. So we will definitely be covering that game, though, where we see if Kenya get promoted or whether they are on the Challenger Series once again. Stormers versus Lions should be a goodie. Says bystander, get some rest. We need you tomorrow. Says great in there as well. But yeah, just so that everyone knows, the game when Kenya will determine if they are getting promoted or staying on the Sevens circuit will be taking place in 2 days' time it would be local time in Kenya. I'm going to try and get this right. I believe it would be 5:56 p.m. in Kenya in 2 days' time. So be sure to set your timers, set your calendars up for that. That would be the earliest that they're playing. The latest that they would be playing would be at, I believe, that is 8 p.m. Kenyan time in 2 days' time. Thank you, lads. Get some sleep. Have a share of Marathon Commentary King. Says Ruth. And there's well, South Africa Sevens versus Ireland, New Zealand, and Fiji. Wow. Yeah, some big results that did take place. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Anyone who is just tuning in now, 19 points to 12 in favour of the Kenyans. Brilliant performance in that first half, as well as the second by Patrick Odongo, who was able to help his side get over the line in this one. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.